5 things we learned from the Premier League this weekend. We're starting off with West Ham United. Are they in a world of pain already? The way they lost to Sunderland was embarrassing. It was low energy. It was low creativity. What is a Graham Potter side? I always thought they'd be based and built upon possession, upon looking slick, maybe not having the physical intensity, but being a little bit like Guardiola light. And I'm not sure what West Ham are trying to do because they're playing 3 centre-backs. They look really vulnerable defensively. So they're not being a Sam Allardyce robust side defensively away from home, but they're not looking good on the ball either. I mean, they're firing balls into full crew. Max Kilman is driving up the pitch as one of the 3 centre-backs, who I've always been a big fan of, but you actually think of his good form at Wolves. Now that's over a year ago. They started off West Ham quite well. I thought one of the better players for Lopetegui, of course. But ultimately now his form in the last few months really, really shocking, particularly at the back end of last season. He's pumping balls long for a throw-in. And ultimately, Sunderland look like a side that are ambitious. They look like a side that are pushing into the top 10 kind of positions in terms of their ambition, at least. Lots still to be played in the Premier League, of course. West Ham look like the side that had just come out of the Championship. They look like a side devoid of ideas, shaky, scared. Ultimately, their run looks very, very scary. Chelsea, Forest, Spurs, Palace, Everton, Arsenal, in that order. They might not win a game until they get Brentford after that. It's shocking times at West Ham United. You still think they can manoeuvre. They're a big club. They've got a big stadium. They've got a big history around them. Right? They're probably just below that kind of Aston Villa, Newcastle, Everton club. They're just below. They're one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, a London club. You feel that maybe they can do something in the transfer market. If they did sack Graham Potter, there'd be a queue of managers that want to get in there. They were linked to Ruben Amorim even a couple of years ago. So I don't think they're going to get relegated like other people do in the online football world. But I do feel that they're under a massive amount of pressure if they keep with Potter too long, particularly if things don't pick up. Even if you lose these games to Chelsea, Forest, Spurs in particular, the next 3, how are they losing? Because Sunderland pit them off. Sunderland showed the ambition that West Ham fans must be crying out for in terms of how they played. The intensity. All 3 of Sunderland's midfielders ran more than any other West Ham player. That was a home game for Sunderland, and they had a lot of the ball as well. 15th and 16th ranked for all the midfielders in the Premier League this weekend was James Ward-Prowse and Guido Rodriguez. So these guys aren't even running. They're not even showing belief, intensity. I do worry about West Ham, and they might even be selling Edison Alvarez on top of Kudus. I mean, where's the quality in that midfield? Absolutely shocking. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, by the way. Brentford, are they in deep water already? We're starting off nice and positive on this video. They got smashed by Nottingham Forest, former set-piece coach Keith Andrews losing to set pieces from Nottingham Forest. I do worry about him. I worry about the Wissa situation. As I'm recording this video, unfollow Brentford. Blacked out some photos of him on Instagram surrounded by Brentford. It is a shocking situation if you're Brentford because they've got no quality there. Their new lad, Thiago, scored a consolation goal. He looks powerful. He looks mobile. Is it enough? I'm not entirely sure. I do worry about them a little bit as well, to be honest with you, as well as West Ham. Probably more than West Ham United. There just isn't any quality there. They're waiting for £60 million from Wissa, £60 million from Mbuemo. Where's that money getting reinvested? They need to go big by the end of the transfer deadline date, in my honest opinion, because Villa next, then Sunderland. If they haven't won a game by Sunderland, he'll be under massive pressure. If they get smashed by Sunderland, Sunderland might be the kind of side that proves a lot of ownerships right or wrong, because ultimately Potter's just been smashed. If Sunderland get a result against Brentford, Keith Andrews will be in a world of pain as well. Let's just talk about the Gyokeres situation. A lot of reaction online about Victor Gyokeres. People editing photos on Photoshop with him wearing those timber boots. Let's be completely real. It is an overreaction. You can come in and have a stinker of a debut and grow into your Premier League career. People were saying last season Caicedo is the best midfielder in the Premier League. You could have had that argument. Even Gravenberch as well, by the way. One of the best Premier League midfielders last season. Both of them, their debut campaigns were really, really poor. Or at least not to par by their own standards. And Caicedo even had a shocker of a debut against West Ham United. I think he got a red card and a penalty as well. He looks absolutely all over the place, and now he looks fantastic. So ultimately, Gyokeres had a heavy touch, looked like he was getting bullied at points, didn't link up play particularly well. But then you have to throw in the caveat, this is Manchester United away. It's never a great game. It's always a tricky game. It's always a tense game. In the early 2000s when they were fighting for things, even now, it never really correlates to players being in form or not. It's a semi-derby. So ultimately, Gyokeres, against the likes of a Fulham at home, an Everton at home, a Leeds United at home. Let's see what that kind of form is, because I think he will start banging goals. It's far too reactionary. The Premier League is a tough place to come. Not everyone can be Haaland. Haaland scoring hat-tricks after hat-tricks in his first season, in his first few months of the season, let alone anything else, then going on to score 52 goals in a campaign. Gyokeres isn't going to get those numbers, but he can still score 20, 30 in all competitions. It's just about the service into him as well. We have to say in modern football, these strikers aren't like Thierry Henry coming deep and running with the ball and nutmegging people. Systems are dictated that strikers don't get that much of an opportunity to dictate football matches like that. Gyokeres will be living off scraps. Haaland is scoring 50 goals a season, sometimes getting 7 touches a game. Last season, he struggled, still scored 30 goals in all competitions. Gyokeres will have to lean into what Haaland's doing, be impatient, not trying to overdo things, not trying to run into people like a headless chicken. He has to just stay in the box and be smart. The balls will come. Saka's form will improve. Martinelli, they need to address that in a big, big way. But the Gyokeres debut reaction was certainly an overreaction. But leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Chelsea, still more needed, 100%. 0 open play goals since January for Cole Palmer. Is it frozen? Is it freezing over? I do worry about Cole Palmer. Have defenders figured him out a little bit? He isn't the quickest. He hasn't got the most power. He's got a brilliant finish on him. He's an instinctive footballer that will always give you that extra yard against a defender to get away from a defender, in between the midfielders, in between the fullbacks, the little half spaces. But I do worry if he's been found out. I'm not a huge fan of how Gittins started in the game. I've been calling for Gittins to be just left alone. Let him play football. We don't need Garnacho at Chelsea as well as Gittins, in my honest opinion. It's a very baggy squad. Then you look at João Pedro, didn't really do much as well. I think there's a lot more needed from Chelsea if they're going to do anything this season. A 0-0 at home to Crystal Palace opening day of the season isn't great. And I actually think they should have lost the game because of the free kick as well. You do look at Chelsea and think, I think they need a couple more, which I can't believe I'm still saying that. But there we go. That's what I'm saying. And then we're just going to wrap up with Liverpool. I saw a stat today that Mohamed Salah scored 10 opening day Premier League goals. There is an inevitability about how Liverpool got their result. I'll be talking about Newcastle, Liverpool on this channel at the end of this week, so make sure you subscribe for that. Might do a little combined 11 or a preview. Either way, let me know what you think about the game. It's massive for obvious reasons. The Isaac conundrum. Could he play against Liverpool? He absolutely should be playing against Liverpool, in my honest opinion, if he's still a Newcastle player, of course. But we have to go back to what Liverpool did against Bournemouth. Yes, they look defensively frail. Yes, there's things they need to tweak. Yes, that midfield is going to get a little bit better once Gravenberch comes back. But this inevitability about Liverpool is still the main driving force of why they're the favourites to win the Premier League, in my honest opinion. I've talked about City on this channel. I'm a huge fan of Reinders and Cherky. But I think when push comes to shove, there'll be a test, a big, big test for James Trafford. There'll be a big, big test for John Stones' fitness, for the right back, for Rico Lewis, or for Kujanov, or whoever it is playing right back. There's a lot to be really, really gassed about at Manchester City. Liverpool, really, a lot of it is icing on the cake. Salah's going to get you goals. Van Dijk still looked decent at points against Bournemouth. The midfield is going to get better. So there's this inevitability about Liverpool going into the Newcastle game where you just feel that, yes, they were going to get back into the game. Yes, they were able to show a level that gets them 3 points where Chelsea weren't able to. Maybe Arsenal didn't show a performance in a similar way. It's very early in the season, but I just thought about that Salah goal right at the end of the game. Ekitike gets the important goal on some level, but the inevitability of this Liverpool side still looking very, very strong. 10 opening day goals for Salah. That is absolutely crazy. He's someone that doesn't need 3 months of form. He's got form 9 months a season. It's absolutely mental. Ekitike, by the way, I'm just going to end on Ekitike because I'm a big, big fan of him. Do Liverpool need Isaac at this point? I'm not sure. I think they need Isaac if they want to win the Champions League, if they want to create a dynasty, if they want to win 3 in a row, if they want to do FA Cups, domestic trebles, domestic doubles, whatever you want to say. I think Isaac, Ekitike, then you add Chiesa, Salah. It gets more of a robust front three that can interchange. But in the Premier League, I'm not sure if Liverpool actually need Isaac to retain the Premier League this season. They might just be able to get through it with Salah and Van Dijk and these kind of stalwart midfielders and forwards and defenders. So that's just my take on the Premier League this weekend. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. 5 things we learn. Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you very, very soon.